All right, MA Marignon, turn 14. I think this should be a quiet one. Yeah, looks like it. Unexpected event, always a good thing. Hey, actually worked out. Got some free gems. Finished research in Enchantment 3. Yeah, working on 4. And our Palisade finished. So, yeah, I'll see you guys after the cut. All right, this is the situation and what we have planned. The main thing is we're gathering, our army. It's still relatively small. We have a decent number of knights. I don't know if this is going to be enough to take out this throne. I think probably. Certainly the troops. It really just depends on what the mages do. Mine burn is also a problem, so I'm not sure I want to risk all these losses just yet. I would prefer to win with more overwhelming force. So I think we could probably win against the throne, but we might take some losses, mostly probably to the mine burn. And yeah, don't want to lose knights. Although, they aren't cheap. So, we have a ton of money, but we want more money, of course, always. So we started a palisade here. This is dangerous a bit. I don't know. It's pretty far away. We are a little bit offering some free infrastructure to Micklin. So, we're going to leave this knight group hanging out here. Just going to preach, eventually build a temple. I don't know, maybe move some forces out that way after we capture the throne. But yeah, it's always a little risky to build a fort, right on the edge of your territory that's going to be difficult to reinforce. But, do want a fort there, going to need a fort there. We're going to have to risk it at some point. Otherwise, these Tiger Riders still hanging out, maybe having thoughts about this throne, maybe having thoughts about Micklin. I still haven't reached out to this player. I probably should, because they might make a decent ally for us since we don't really share much of a border. So yeah, Micklin has a decent amount on their capital, right? This is quite a few of their sacreds. He's going with Jaguar Warriors, who are pretty solid. I think Micklin in all ages gets multiple sacred options and sacred summons. Usually Micklin carries a pretty strong bless for good reason. And he has a Teodal, so that's a Titan. And it's awake, obviously. Which is, not that we were planning on attacking Micklin, but another reason that maybe we wouldn't want to. Otherwise, they have a palisade up here. I think this is a mercenary band. Maybe not. Micklin can summon these as well, I think. Yeah, maybe doing some site searching. He did mention that he wanted this province, so maybe jumping in there. But yeah, Micklin is looking decently healthy. They have an awake god to protect themselves. I think they'll probably be fine. It does depend on who their neighbors are. Speaking of neighbors, we did find Jotunheim up here, who also borders Ashdod. So yeah, still just trying to figure out exactly what's going on around Ashdod. Continuing to explore Ariu's lands. There's still quite a few independents running around. So yeah, some of these have been cut off, right? So I think Ariu's done a decent job with their expansion. Corralling off a decent chunk of territory for themselves, although it looks like they're probably not finished, to the northwest here. Hard to say. We still don't have sight on their capital just yet, but it's got to be in here somewhere. So yeah, we'll start to push our scouts in a little deeper. We see Kalem over here on their border as well, so that's relevant, right? In case Ariu decides to attack us, we now know who to talk to. And then the Bronze Colossus is on the move. So he's either out here site searching, probably either site searching, because if he wanted to grab this throne, he wouldn't have had to leave the capital. He could have just jumped directly on top of it. The other possibility is he's going to come up this way and try to take this throne. In fact, you know what? Man, I really want to know what throne that is. But it doesn't really matter yet, so we're going to come up here, actually, just in case, because, that will change our timetable. If the Bronze Colossus moves here next turn, then, we're going to go for it. We're going to go for that throne. I'm probably going to do a little bit of testing to try to see if I can figure out, what decently high astral is going to do. And how painful Mine Burn is going to be for our knights. But yeah, I definitely think, Bronze Colossus, I'm not sure how effective Mind Burn would be against him, but they have a lot of health, so probably he could just stomp on this throne pretty easily. So yeah, we're going to delay learning about this throne and infiltrating Abyssea's capital to see, what the Bronze Colossus is up to. I would think that he would probably prioritize this throne since it's in his cap circle. But then again, maybe he just feels like, I don't need to jump on this. He probably has enough resource. He's still missing some connections. Anyway, could just be site searching. Continuing to push our scouts deeper. It does look like he expanded to the south at least some. So, but yeah, still looking a little small. Hey, maybe we want even more fire gems. You'd attack Abyssea. I don't know. Fire Nation versus Fire Nation is a little bit weird. Not weird, but just, flaming arrows, not going to help too much against most Abyssians. Although in Middle Age, they do have some human troops that have less, or human-bred troops that have less fire resistance, but still some, I think. And they have tower shields as well. Yeah, flaming arrows, not a great... Abyssea is not a great target for that. Fire elementals. We can do fire stuff. They can do fire stuff. And then that big army on Tianqi's capital went somewhere. We did not catch where it went, so possibly he's coming for us. Maybe he's going for somebody else. Maybe he's going for this throne down here. So we're moving a scout down, maybe catch the army, massing here, maybe see, has he captured this throne? And then, possibly a Tianqi army appears on our border next turn, in which case, I don't know. It depends. Maybe we'll back off on the throne. Maybe we'll still go for it. We do, our fort is at least finished. It won't take long to crack this palisade. We are upgrading it. I would have liked to get a lab up here as well, but we're just searching instead. Because money. We need more money, so we're getting more crossbowmen, we're getting an initiate because we're kind of broke between the palisade and upgrading this fort. That chewed up a lot of our income. And then more knights. Grandmaster is finishing off, and then we're getting in another initiate with our remaining commander points there in our capital. So I think that more or less covers it research-wise. It's going to be a couple of turns before we get flaming arrows, so there's a pretty good chance that we're going to have to take a decent... it depends. If this Bronze Colossus doesn't move up here, then maybe we have a decent amount of time. But I mean, Ariu might grab it. I think, there's Sacreds. I think it's actually only their sacreds. Let's take a quick look. I don't actually know that are stealthy. That's commander. Yeah, so they have a stealthy, but I think that's it. Because otherwise, they just get Furbolg and then, some kind of crappy human troops similar to what man gets. So they really only have the one stealthy option. But I mean, it is their sacred, and they may... That's, right? That's what I'm planning on taking the throne with, a pile of my sacreds. Still don't want to leave this too long. Would be nice to have flaming arrows. That will do really well against this throne. But we may have to fight the throne first, and we may have to fight Tianqi before we have flaming arrows. I think that covers turn 14. All right, MA Marignon, turn 15. I think this is another quiet one. We did catch a battle, it looks like, between Abyssea and some independents. And we found Caverns of Glowing Moss. I think this might be 2 gems. Nope, just 1. More fire gems, of course. I mean, that's what a Fire 4 is going to find, generally speaking. And let's see how Abyssea did. This is, I think the Horse Tribe. Nice. You get to see their Pretender in action. It is, a decent amount of Horse Tribe. There's, flying shards, just miserably missing. But this guy's not going to care about some arrows. He has protection 33, really high earth here, decently high air. So not really sure. Let's take a look. Charged bodies and fortitude. Okay. That's interesting. I mean, charged bodies, I don't have a lot of experience with it. I know there's a lot of people that don't really like it as a bless. I mean, anytime that you're dealing shock damage, that can be kind of nasty. So, you have to pay attention to that. Abyssea's Sacreds are decently tanky, and I think this only procs when the unit takes damage. So you need to be able to take damage and survive. So yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting bless, definitely. I don't really know enough to properly assess it, but I think, like, you know, regardless of the bless, it is kind of sad that this guy's just set to cast spells because he doesn't really have enough research. Interesting, he's not actually a trampler, so I guess he would just run in and punch guys with just miserable attack skills. So I guess maybe it makes sense. It's kind of a shame he's not a trampler, because, you know, with skills that low, like, he might actually lose this. Okay, it looks like maybe he's set to, like, advance and cast spells, right? Like Earth Might. So that's good at least. Right, like, yeah, now that he's actually, like, getting, you know, closer in range. Okay, yeah, that was, oh, nice. He's doing some point-blank stuff. Fist Iron. You don't actually see that very often. So, yeah, this works out fine. I stand corrected. Definitely, I think advance and cast spells was critical, all right? If he'd just been set to cast spells and stayed back casting, like, that flying shards that was missing, good chance the battle would have timed out and he would have lost, which would have been rough. But, yeah, that works out just fine. Like, seems like an acceptable use of a Bronze Colossus there. And we have some unexpected events. Hey, this is nice. Find some gems, and hey, you know, some misfortune, but we do get some magic out of it, so not all bad. And then, yeah, a little bit of trolling, and I will see you guys after the cut. All right, and this is what we have planned for the turn. So probably the biggest thing is we're going to go in. We're going in on this throne. Yeah, I did a little testing. Sadly, I could not find a throne that had some Lore Master defenders, so still not really sure what that Astral 3 is going to be doing. A little bit filled with terror, but yeah, like what we have here took out, you know, quite a few different types of throne defenders. Not too worried about the troops. A lot of wizards went down to these guys. Like, yeah, I think I might be giving a little too much respect to these throne defenders. We shall see. So yeah, the plan is going to send half the knights. They're going to attack rear, try to get into the back, you know, mess up the wizards. The cavalry was, you know, down on the bottom, so our cav is going to stop their cav, and then we just have our crossbowmen spread out and skirmish, which does reduce their morale, but there are a decent amount of archers on this throne and some light cavalry, which also fire bows. So we're just going to have our guys firing at the archers, mostly to avoid friendly fire with our knights, hopefully. So while our knights, you know, kill off infantry, our crossbowmen will be hitting their archers and not friendly firing our knights. So yeah, I mean, you know, not a complicated plan, mostly relying on the strength of the knights, and we'll see how it goes. I think we're going to roll over it, but... You know, you never know. And, like, you gotta love the scout reports. So I went back and checked. It's 173, I think, you know, give or take. So that's the actual count. And, you know, you can see, right, the percentage that the fluctuation is percentage based, right? So the bigger the force, like, the more the number is going to fluctuate. So if you have a really large force, like, you know, it can report just absolute massive numbers. So anyway, yeah, so I was looking at this and it's like, man, this is a lot more. Like, I thought this was an easier throne. Had to go back and double check and, like, yeah, it's definitely an easier throne. Yeah, in terms of, like, why we're going in, so I mean, we could still wait, right? We don't have, you know, we're close, right? We're what, 2-3 turns away roughly from enchantment 4, but a lot can happen in that time. And one of the main things, right, is that this Bronze Colossus could just go 1, 2. Right? So if we move now, like, I mean, we don't 100% know what's in here, but probably not much, I'm hoping. So we're probably not going to bump. Whereas if we wait even one turn, the Bronze Colossus could move into this province, and then it's like, well, we could still go for the throne, but we might bump with, you know, this Bronze Colossus, which, like, maybe we can kill, maybe we can't. Not sure. And, like, yeah, not a whole lot has been going on. Like, I think we can pull it off. It's usually a bad sign if you're sitting back, you know, and not doing anything. It definitely depends, right? Sometimes you might be trying to hit a research goal or something like that. But yeah, I feel like, you know, we have the force. We can use it. A little bit worried that Abyssia is going to jump in and try to capture this throne. Although, yeah, again... But, I mean, you know, maybe saving this, right? Thinking, like, well, it's in my cap circle. I have time. So yeah, that's kind of, you know, the big news for this turn. Otherwise, we did find Ermor down here, which is sad, but at least they're not our neighbor. This is a bit of an argument to kind of leave our south alone, right? And like just yeah. We actually stack up just fine against Ermor, but they are a hassle to fight because, I mean, they're by the time we get there, like all their land is going to be totally dead. So, we get gem income, right? Like whatever gems Ermor has found, we'll get, and then, their capital site gives a lot of death gems. So it's not like you don't get anything, but all the land you take over is completely ruined. So it's a bit of a downer to be fighting Ermor. But we'll see. Like, yeah, still haven't decided. Really kind of depends on how things go with the throne. So anyway, yeah, that's our scouting down here. Like Abyssia does look like they've expanded like pretty far south. So their expansion is not as bad as it first looked, just a little elongated. But I mean, that's how it goes. Like, right, if somebody was coming at us from the south, they'd be like, "Ooh, Marignon didn't really look like they expanded very well," which partially true. But we picked up a lot more territory up here, so yeah, you have to be careful about that. And then continuing, to scout Tianqi fairly heavily. Still haven't figured out like where, maybe that was just fluctuation. I don't think so though. That's too big of a fluctuation. So I do think some units have moved out, but yeah, haven't found where. Probably the next most exciting thing for this turn. So we found a couple of Archocephalian stacks, and he's using a lot of elephants, which I kind of surmised just from chatting with him. But yeah, look at this looks spicy. So I was excited to see this. We are moving our scout into position. This doesn't look like a very strong throne, but I don't know if these players know that they're both planning on going for this throne. I mean, this is why you really want to scout, in my opinion. I mean, not that we would ever get caught off guard from not knowing about potential bumps or, well, it's the elves. You never know what the elves are up to. So yeah, we'll see, but I mean, this is, a lot of units, right? 70 units, mostly Tiger Riders. Like this player, I think, he's been massing units here on the border of the throne, and like this can't really cross the river to get this independent province. So whether it's like this turn, hopefully they both go, simply because, I just want to get to see both blesses, get to see both armies in action, and it'd be more interesting. But yeah, we'll see. Like one of them might decide to go first, but regardless, this is going to be an interesting little thing to check out. We saw that Yis made landfall. Not good. So yeah, that's an argument for us to not mess with our eastern neighbors because they can be a nice Yis border or buffer. So yeah, we'll see. But not a huge land presence, probably. Maybe just hopefully like 3 or 4 provinces. But yeah, they're very powerful. So we don't love to see them. We see Xibalba up here. So yeah, moving in to, kind of get eyes on them. There may be somebody to talk to. Mikland overall looking a little on the small side. So yeah, I mean, maybe that would be a good war for us. And then yeah, Ashdod actually looking like pretty big, right? They continue to extend over here. Maybe work with Mikland to attack Ashdod. Because we have a decent border with them, and it would kind of make for a good war for both of us. I think there's enough territory here, so that's a possibility on their northern border. And like they've done a really good job of, well, they haven't completely cut off this throne, but almost, encircled it, and then they can just take it at their leisure. More Jotunheim up here, and then we see Ind here bordering Ariu. So yeah, Ariu is not massive, but like decent size and shape. We still don't quite know where their capital is. Yeah, it must be like here or here. So yeah, we're just moving in to kind of see like, do they have a stack of like siege chaff, and would like to know exactly where their capital is. We see some more Kalem bordering here. And then, yeah, I think that covers it for our scouting. So we have a pretty good picture of the world and some interesting stuff hopefully coming up. Some throne battles. Still no wars really that we've caught. So as far as I know, all of our neighbors are unoccupied, which is another reason I'm a little hesitant to jump in on anyone. We are building a lab here this turn, which is chewing up a decent amount of our money. We got 3 more months on this palisade. Definitely will feel a lot better when that's up, and when we get some troops moving out to cover it. Would really like to start this palisade here, but really need to get the lizards going. Anyway, yeah, always want more forts. Recruitment-wise, getting another Grand Master, a few more knights, not maxing out because we are, we don't have enough money always, even though we have a lot of money. Getting an initiate, similarly, like money issues, no crossbowman recruitment, and I don't think, we're getting a troubadour here. And we have a troubadour on the way, actually, to infiltrate Abyssea's capital. We'll probably use the next guy to infiltrate Tianqi's capital. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Not really sure how useful infiltration is. I do know that if it fails, the player gets a message and they'll probably know that it's me. Although Eru also gets spies, I think. So that's good. You want like plausible deniability. Not that it really matters. Like it doesn't hurt them. It just, indicates that I'm interested in them, which everybody's interested in their neighbors, so not really that bad. And I think that covers recruitment, and I think that covers turn 15. All right, MA Marignon, turn 16. This is going to be an exciting one. Not all Dominion's turns are created equal. So we got some other stuff going on, but let's see how this throne battle goes. Should be fine. So this is starting out okay. Let's see, what is our... What have you done so far, Astral? Oh, this is good. Yeah, he's just buffing himself. Fantastic. You just keep doing that, buddy. You just keep on doing that. So we stopped most of the knights. That's good. A few of them got through. That's going to be great, but our archers should handle it. Lightning bolt coming out. Yeah, a lot of mine burns. I think we are losing some knights to mine burns, unfortunately. Let's see, there's a lot of dead archers. Where is the scroll on this bad boy? Alright, well, let's just use the mouse wheel. Yeah, so we've definitely lost a few knights, so that's not great. And we are fairly spread out. Ooh, shockwave, ouch. That definitely hurts. More mine burns. Now that we've cleaned out the knights, though, we are moving forward. Yeah, archers still firing. Unfortunately, we are getting some friendly fire. I'm not sure if these light cavalry count as archers, so possibly should have ordered like one squad to fire cavalry instead of firing archers. But yeah, we've got the route. It looks like it wasn't too bloody. I don't think we really lost anything, or hardly anything, in terms of crossbowmen. Definitely a few knight casualties, but nothing too bad. And I don't think all that worry about that astral commander. I don't think we can... Okay, yeah, we can see. Yeah, so lightning bolt, so shockwave. I think that's just air 1, so yeah, and another shockwave. And I mean, shockwave is definitely nasty. He was maybe using some air gems for that, but yeah, didn't really even take advantage of the fact that he was astral 3. Didn't do anything exciting. Like I said, usually these lore master and sage thrones are easier. So yeah, that works out. Let's see what the butcher's bill was. Yeah, 7 knights. That does hurt, but that's like basically a little more than like 1 turn of recruitment right now. So that's fine. That's worth a throne. And then we lose 2 crossbowmen. That is totally fine. And then this is interesting. So we caught a battle. Looks like Abyssea's busy, which is good news. We just got a border with Abyssea. Oh, who is this guy? Centaur, Great Sage. Wow, this is a pretender. So this is a rainbow pretender, maybe taken dormant, maybe awake, depending on the scales. Let's see, ooh, quite a bless. Rainbowy bless. Regeneration, though, is not standard on a rainbow. So yeah, I think the scales have probably been pretty tanked on this, because regeneration alone, like that's 7 nature. What is this? Yeah, swiftness. So he's got 1 defense skill, some attack skill, magic weapons. That's cool. Fire shock and cold. No poison resistance though, which is kind of interesting from Pangea. Foul vapors is definitely something they have access to. It's a very common wipe. It is kind of harder. Centaurs maybe have enough hit points, and they're really fast. So like trying to kill them with poison would be a little challenging. And let's see, what do we have on Abyssea's side? This looks like just, regular old Abyssian infantry. I think this is going to go pretty poorly, especially because these guys do have the 10 fire resistance, right, which is more than enough to deal with like these heat auras, which is one of the main things, these Abyssian infantry struggle with. Yeah, and they're going berserk now. They are taking some damage, right? They don't have a lot of defense because, the berserk is going to lower their defense, and they don't have fantastic defense anyway. Their protection is not great. This guy hasn't berserked. It gets better once they berserk. These guys have been fighting. This guy has an affliction, but he has not berserked yet. Wow, this guy hasn't berserked either. Surely this guy, nope. Wow. Who the heck is berserked here? There we go, here's one. So yeah, protection 12, still like pretty mediocre once they berserk, and without the berserk, like, yeah, they pretty low protection. So these Abyssian infantry maybe doing a little bit better. You know, I mean, regeneration is nice on the centaurs, but like, you know, I don't know. I feel like that's a bit much for how expensive it is. But I mean, it may have like good applications for, because Pangea can definitely thug as well, right? So the regeneration might not be focused on the White Centaur, and I mean the White Centaur don't mind it, and like, yeah, they are able to clean it up, you know, without too much trouble. Although they did take more damage than I thought, and maybe no casualties. This really hurts for Abyssia. Hopefully he has some sort of bless for his sacreds. I think the middle-aged Abyssian sacreds are somewhat weakened. Now he does have that bronze colossus, and I don't think these White Centaur, did they have strength on the bless? And I mean, they're fairly strong anyway. I think they get a strength bonus once they go berserk. Yeah, they should already be, because the pretender, they start blessed. Yeah, they have no strength. They're fairly strong anyway, though. But, you know, yeah, like, against that bronze colossus, they may actually struggle a bit. He'll need quite a few in like a full surround, and even then, depending on what gets cast. So, you know, Abyssia might have a way out in the bronze colossus. But yeah, this is, you know, this is rough. I'm glad this is not happening to me. Nobody likes having to deal with really blessed White Centaur early on. Kind of interesting that he brought the pretender out. But yeah, so, you know, maybe we do a little vulturing off of Abyssia if he goes down. There's a prophet coming out from Phlegra. We had an assassination attempt on one of our commanders. Fantastic. Hopefully this is not... This is not our assassin. This is their assassin. Good news is paladins are pretty tough. And so, yeah, he should bless himself. And then, yeah. So, good luck with that. You know, just another reason that, you know, friars versus paladin, like, you never know what's going to happen, especially with misfortune. We finished construction of a fortress, upgrading our fort on one of those plains provinces. So yeah, I'll see you guys after the jump. All right, and this is what we have going on. More quiet turn. The main thing is we're going to come in and we're going to grab this. Same army. We don't have a divine blessing, which is a little rough. But we have, you know, 2 paladins. We don't have a ton of sacreds, so I think we should be able to bless up enough guys. Certainly not worried about the indies. Obviously, like, yeah, these guys are much reduced, but it is possible that Tianchi comes in. Not too worried about 50 archers, though. I think we will clean that up, no problem. This does kind of, you know, break a little bit the sort of handshake agreement, right, where it's like I stay on one side of the river, he stays on the other side of the river, although I guess technically the throne already breaks that, although usually thrones, at least for me, and I think most players, kind of don't really count, you know, because they're the objective points, so it's like they're kind of their own separate thing. You know, like, you need to work that out separately if you're going to make deals about thrones, at least for me. But of course, I mean, you know, Tianchi's already, like, the river thing, like, forget it. So I don't know why they're not capturing this, but it's going to be ours. So, you know, we'll see how that goes. Otherwise, like, kind of just pushing scouts around, doing some recruitment, starting the fort up here. I did see from our scouting that, so this is Nazca's capital. So it looks like Ashdod is, you know, very much involved in the war against Nazca. I don't know. I think there are other people involved in the war against Nazca, but it looks like it's winding down, right? Ashdod managed to get like 3 of, you know, Nazca's cap circle provinces. So, you know, Nazca's on their way out. And Ashdod is looking, you know, a little on the scary side. I can see why, you know, he wasn't interested in a bump since he was going to be busy over here. Maybe a decent time to try to get a non-aggression pact with him. Still not 100% sure what I want to do there. Mictlan is looking kind of dangerously small. You know, yeah, they're hemmed in by like Ashdod and Jibalba here, and then like Yis has a lot of this. So like, yeah, Mictlan is not very big. Like, maybe a good person to fight. Like, obviously it's going to take us a second to get over there, but you know, they just cleaned out an indie province here. They're now out of provinces, you know, to expand into, and like, yeah, we have a lot of territory up here that is lightly defended at this point. And like, once this fort goes up, I'm thinking that, like, that would be a good time for them to attack. So it's completely possible that Mictlan comes in on us, which I think, like, long term we'll be able to deal with, but in the short term we will lose quite a bit of territory. Kind of to that end, like, starting to shuffle up, just a few more troops, not really a ton. But once, we got 2 more turns on this palisade, which is not great. It's going to be turn 18 that it comes up, and, starting a palisade on turn 18. We do actually already have, like 2 forts built. We're probably like overbuilding infrastructure. It kind of feels like at this point, I'm not going to be able to, we're already like can't recruit quite out of everything, like not doing full recruitment out of this fort here. Would like a fort on the throne, but I think I'm actually going to delay that. It's a little rough. We are claiming, right? That's the reason our Holy 3 is not coming in. We want this gem income and want to try to recruit these, fort will allow us to recruit these crystal mages more quickly. And yeah, maybe the crystal mages are more important because we really want a fort for the lizards. But this does give this other fort like a lot of resources. I don't know. I'm torn. Like another 3 forts, like, yeah, we're gonna have so many forts. We're gonna have way too many forts. So I don't know. They're all reasonable forts to have. But it's maybe like too much too soon. I am starting to think about maybe like dumping some of the fire gems into some early money. Anyway, we don't actually have the research, but once we get alteration 1, we get like the weaker version of it. So like this is somewhat wasteful, like because this isn't as good as what we're going to get at alteration 5. And then of course our pretender is an alchemist, and so is going to be able to alchemize. We're going to get better results. But we do have a Fire 4 here, right? So I actually brought the Fire 4 back because we got an Astral 3. And Astral is super important for Marignon for some of our summons later. So searching at a higher level of Astral, like really Astral 4 is kind of what you want to search at. It's kind of one of the rare paths where there's enough sites at level 4 that it is worth considering. But 3 is good, right? 3 is better than 2. So, like, right, we found fire here, but no astral. Like, maybe there's astral here. So anyway, we got this guy out here searching, and like Fire 4 is like pretty good, in terms of like if you're doing, some transmutation. Obviously, there's a lot of people that think that this is a complete waste of gems, and they might be right. We'll see. So we're getting like, we have so many fire gems. It's crazy. We haven't really done that much site searching yet. Yeah. And like I said, we're going to have too much infrastructure, and like we have quite a bit of territory. We need troops, a little bit of alchemy early on, maybe, to make sure that we can get enough recruitment to defend ourselves here. Might not be the craziest thing, but yeah, we'll see. At least Abyssia, like he apparently, so I was thinking maybe Abyssia was getting rushed, but no, I don't think so, because this was Pangea retaking their cap circle, and then Abyssia's like down in their other, cap circle province. So Abyssia is actually pretty busy. Like maybe this war is going, better for them than I thought. Well, it's definitely going better for them than I thought. Ermor looking like kind of small, right? Some of this like neutral territory, like really like this is Ermor's capital. This is their cap circle. Granted, it's a wasteland, so that's not really like a priority. Although, I don't know. Ermor, they're a little weird, right? So they don't need, they still need money, but it's not as much of a concern. And like gems would be, I don't know. Anyway, it's kind of, it's turn 16 and they still haven't cleared their cap circle. That's a little weird. So that's probably good for everybody. They might be fighting. Yeah, they probably are fighting. Although, this is a pretty close fort for them. For Utgard to put this fort up and be fighting Ermor, but yeah, either they really failed in expansion, or like, yeah, they got dogpiled, which is a common fate. I think, right, nobody wants to deal, everybody wants Ermor to die more or less, or whatever, be gone. They're already dead. So looking like we're not really gonna have to worry about Ermor, which is nice. I like that. And then yeah, like Tianchi, like still kind of pushing scouts around. I will say, so I didn't realize, like, yeah, this throne, or I probably have just forgotten, this throne is in Arcocephali's cap circle. So I'm going to reach out to Kalos this turn, because, this is summer, so they could actually pass through. I'm a little bit concerned that they still haven't gone in. Like, hey, like, right, I was just worrying about going in on a throne, so it's like, yeah, it's dangerous. We don't know what kind of casters are here. Maybe there's some really, maybe this sorceress is really nasty. But yeah, this is a ton of stuff. And then this is Arcosafali's capital, so they may not actually be planning on going for the throne yet. This is a decent amount of stuff to just have like sitting in your capital, but they may just be building up. The other interesting thing is that it looks like they're being attacked, I'm guessing, by Ubar, right? Because this claims that it's neutral, but one of the things about Ubar is that you don't get to see like what provinces they control. They just show up as indie, flags, although there's never any independence there. So, if you're ever curious, or if you're ever trying to figure out, is this actually independent or is it just BS? One of the guys that hides it. If there's no like independent forces listed there, then it's like, yeah, that's one of the factions that hides their flag. You just have to be careful, right? Like this is, if I move my scout here and I still don't see any indies, right, then it's like, yeah, that's somebody hiding the flag, but you don't actually get to see like neighboring armies like from your scout. You only get to see like what's in the province. So this is probably like legit indie. And then all this is like Ubar, who's looking, it's hard to tell how big they are. I think they also lie about what their capital is unless you're actually in it. So we're going to try to find Ubar's capital. It could actually be this province. If that's the case, then like, yeah, they're not massive, but the fact that they're in Arcosafali's cap circle, they're probably fighting Arcosafali. This is looking really rough. So we might actually want to jump in on them first, but I really kind of want this infrastructure to go up. I'm less worried about this infrastructure. So yeah, but I want some troops here, just to be ready, because I do think there's a decent chance. Like, I think Mictlan is big enough to be dangerous, but small enough that they really kind of need to expand. And it could be us. And then, yeah, like I said, a little bit worried about the stack. I do think it's going for the throne, but he's probably aware that it's in Arcosafali's cap circle. So, I mean, he may also be aware that, like, Arcosafali is in trouble here and is thinking, like, okay, I'm going to grab this and, like, maybe even go for the capital. But it's not impossible, again, because it's summer. Like, he can connect, he could invade. Like, just because it's a fairly small border doesn't guarantee anything. So, yeah, planning on reaching out to that player and, just kind of see, like, what's up. Maybe, like, offer the fact that, like, hey, Arcosafali has a decent force here, just make nice, because I don't really want to fight him, because it'd be a really awkward war. So yeah, I think that's the majority of our scouting, probably winding down a bit. I don't think we're going to, not recruiting any more scouts. Like, we are starting to run into money problems a little bit. We have a lot of money, but like I said, we're kind of trying to go nuts on the infrastructure. And I think we have enough scouts now. Like, this feels, I don't know. I could always have more scouts, certainly. But like, I have a good enough picture of like my surrounding neighbors, and like now I'm probably going to start like parking scouts on like various forts and like sort of key areas. And we've kind of like connected our picture, right? So it's like, we see, what is this, Jotunheim, right? I think, yeah, Jotunheim. Like, we've kind of, we now know like the full like length, sort of. So we've completed that circuit, and less worried about completing the length circuit, because we've kind of seen roughly like both coastlines, right? Like, we know, like, Yus is active over here, we know like Kalem's over here. We don't really care if Kalem's being invaded by water nations. So we kind of have like a big enough like sight picture of the world, at least for me, so we can kind of cool it on recruiting some scouts. And then, like, yeah, Jotunheim is looking like decent. I am a little bit curious. I think some of this is Ind, if I recall. So like, Ind is here, so I am curious to see like how big Ind is. We did find Eriu's capital here, so yeah, we're gonna send a scout in, and this is mostly elves. But we did find a stack of garbage here on this palisade, so that's mildly interesting. And then, yeah, like recruitment wise, yeah, I talked a little bit. We are actually doing initiates this turn in both of our forts, even the place where we could get a witch hunter. Just again, like money issues from, bringing up that palisade. More crossbowmen here. Probably should start getting some infantry, but I just think they're not going to do great, like, against like the composite bowmen that we might be going up against. And I mean, we can kind of use our knights somewhat as a front line. They're going to be a much better front line, so yeah, but should start recruiting some more throwaway infantry, maybe mix some flagellants in, even though they're pretty garbage without buffs. In the capital, finishing off our Grandmaster, and then we are sneaking in a Witch Hunter there. Actually somewhat Holy Point limited, right? Because these guys chew up 2 Holy Points. We actually have enough resources and recruitments for more Knights. We don't have the money, of course, but yeah, Holy Point's like a bit of an issue. Like, what do we take? Dom Strength 6, I think? Oh, 7. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty good, but could be higher, right? So looking to increase that probably with some temples. We'd like to get some more temples up. Yeah, we're going to be doing the most recruitment out of our capital, obviously, because it's a citadel, so we're not going to have this problem everywhere yet. But we definitely do want more citadels, to that end. Definitely starting to think about an architect. But, we have so much other infrastructure we just need to get up and running and then fill it with units that I think it's a little premature to be, upgrading anything into a citadel just yet. Still really no clue what we're going to do war-wise. We have a lot of options and we don't really need to move yet. Right now I'm definitely thinking defensively because we can't really even cover the territory that we currently have. So that's kind of a bad time to be starting a war. That said, like I said, going to keep an eye on Arcocephali. They look like they're in trouble. I'm going to jump in, and vulture a bit, if we see somebody jump on their capital or they take a big loss or something like that. So Arcocephali is definitely looking like somebody that, we might snack on a little bit. And then Abyssia is interesting. This looks like it's a lizard province, right? Lizard shamans. Now, granted, we have lizard shamans, but boy, it would be nice if we didn't have to pay for a fort. So, that's something to consider. Our army is already over here. Abyssia is really busy, attacking someone else, but it's, not done yet. A little bit worried about that Bronze Colossus, but yeah, Abyssia is definitely a possibility. Obviously, we talked about fire on fire action. It's a little awkward, but hey, maybe we'll get even more fire gems and just really lean into this theme. So we'll see. Don't really know what Area is up to. Ashdod, at least for the moment, is busy, but is looking like they're going to be free relatively soon. So we do need to keep an eye on them. We talked about Mictlan, and yeah. So there's a lot of different ways this game could go. I'm still not really sure. Like I said, just trying to dig in right now, get infrastructure up, get troops, and then research-wise, we got 2 turns before flaming arrows. So arguably that would be a good time to attack because we hit a research goal, but probably won't, again, just due to other factors. We 2 choices. Alteration, really want to go up. It's going to give us a lot of good things. Solar Eclipse especially is going to help out our knights, and it's going to make army v army fights really good for us. And then there's other good stuff, and then obviously we want to do the alchemy stuff. The alchemy we can probably hold off, right? It's going to be another 16 or 18 turns before our pretender is out. But there's incinerate, there's good stuff in alteration. We want to go up alteration anyway. The other argument is to go up thaumaturgy, right, to probably about 5 for now for Soul Slay. It's kind of one of the anti-elite options, you know what I mean? We've got a Bronze Colossus and the dragon, and there's Mictlan had the Teodal. There's definitely some, super combatant-y sort of chassis out there running around. Not really sure. I need to do some testing. Still haven't done any testing with the knights to see, how well do they kill super combatants. I think it's going to be okay, but anyway, yeah, Soul Slay is a thought. So right now we have alteration queued, but that might change. So yeah, I think that covers turn 16.